Hello, my name is Kitty Coy, and we are here to attract more abundance now. So I'm so excited to share this information because I have hacked the protocol and figured out the four-step process on how to make manifesting easy. And that's what I want to share with you today. And specifically around manifesting, so many people, I mean, who doesn't want more abundance in their life? I mean, come on, we all want more abundance. And just the act of wanting more abundance sometimes can block you from receiving it. So, we're going to go through the myths around manifestation. I'm going to briefly cover a little bit of the science around manifestation so you can understand the quantum physics of how it works. And then we're going to talk about the challenges we face specifically with trying to manifest more money. We're going to go through some fun exercises. I do recommend grabbing a pen and a piece of paper, maybe a couple pieces of paper, because I love to share information in this. You will get the recording because I will talk fast to cover all of this. And then we're also going within this call, going to do a neuroscience-based process, which is magical at improving your relationship with abundance. Because if you improve your relationship with money, it's more likely to come to you. So I just want to share where I really come from in this is in April 2019 is when I really started noticing that I'm a manifesting machine. We had just bought a home, or April 2018. We had just bought a home a month earlier, and so we went to the Denver Home Expo. I live in Denver, Colorado, and it's a giant warehouse with like 300 vendors and 20,000 attendees on a beautiful April Saturday. Like my husband and I were there. We're strolling around, and this one booth catches my eye. And in the booth, they're giving away 100 Home Depot gift certificates for $500 each. And I was like, ooh, I'm feeling lucky. We just bought a house. I could really use a Home Depot gift certificate. I have some experience winning door prizes and things like that in the past. So I was like, I'm totally going to win one of these 100 Home Depot gift certificates. So I'm filling out the form and I notice a box at the bottom that says, check this box if you want to be entered for the grand prize of a week, an all-inclusive paid vacation trip to Mexico for a week for two people. And I checked the box because I'm like, sure, vacation, but I'm really going for that Home Depot gift certificate. I fill out my form, I submit it, I walk around, I completely forget what's going on. 2 days later, ring, 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 Kitty, you won the all inclusive paid vacation trip to Mexico. It's me. One in 20,000 people win, and it's me. I was so excited. Believe it or not, that year I actually manifested 7 free vacations in 12 months. And if you want to learn how or whatever, I'm happy to share some of the stories around because they're crazy stories. But 7 free vacations I was able to manifest. And that's because I hacked the protocol of how to be a manifesting machine. So let's get into it because I would love to share this protocol with you. So in case you don't know me, my name is Kitty Coy. I'm an actual neuroscientist. I have a master's degree in integrative physiology, a bachelor's degree in psychology, and my minor, but an actual degree in neuroscience from University of Colorado Boulder. And I was worked for after college for 10 years as a behavioral neuroscience researcher. Specifically, I studied how the structure of your brain affects your behavior and how your behavior affects the structure of your brain. And I loved research, but I decided that I wanted to help people in a day-to-day way because research, I am still receiving publications. I'm published in 9 peer-reviewed scientific publications like Neuroscience and the Journal of Neuroscience. The top 5 neuroscientific journals, I'm published in all of them. And articles are still coming out, and I stopped doing that almost 10 years ago because there's a long lag between research and when it's actually factually helping people. And I wanted to help people day to day, and I love people. So I really I became a magnetic mind coach. Specifically, what I do is I use neuroscience to help people get their vision faster and easier. I love to work with driven female entrepreneurs to help them improve their relationship with abundance so they can create the success and impact they desire. Because if the last 6 months has told us anything, we need more money in the hands of women entrepreneurs and women in general, because we tend to vote with our dollar and put our money in values that we care about. And so I think the world needs that. So that's my mission this year. So I am certified in meditation, mindset, NLP, superconscious recoding, like you name it. If it's a neuroscience certification, I probably have it. And I am a manifesting machine. I already shared that I manifested 7 free vacations in a year in 2018. I've manifested 10 of my lifetime bucket list achievements in the last 3 years. But I want to share with you a secret. Surprise, you are already a manifesting machine. So I'm going to teach you how to start manifesting your wildest dreams, because you are manifesting everything in your life all the time, but you're manifesting what you subconsciously believe that you deserve. And you know what you believe you deserve because look around. It's what you have right now. So if we shift what you're manifesting, you can start and get into alignment. We're going to talk about all these things. You can start manifesting your wildest dreams too, whether it's free vacations, more money, whatever that is for you. I promise that the recipe that we have at the end of this call will support you in that process. So in case you're not familiar with manifesting, I just want to share a definition to get us all on the same page. Manifesting is turning your thoughts into things, is literally dreaming about something that you want to create in your everyday life. And I love this quote from Albert Einstein. And actually, he said this almost 100 years ago. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. All you need to do is match the reality or match the frequency of the reality you want to create, and you cannot help but create it. It is not a philosophy, it is quantum physics. And I'm willing to trust Albert Einstein as an expert in quantum physics. So, and if you feel free, I love activity in the chat. If you feel like sharing, if you have any experience with manifesting, feel free to pop anything in the chat you want to share, anything you've manifested successfully. And then something to think about too, we're going to get deeper into this, but if there's something specific you want to manifest, you can like moving forward or by the end of this year, maybe in the next 6 months or whatever that is, you might think about that too. All right, so the number one myth around manifesting actually comes from the media's interpretation of the book and the movie The Secret. And it was written by Rhonda Byrne, and she's an amazing woman, and I love what she did. And she left something out of the book, and she talks about it in interviews. Like she actually talks about this step that she left out in interviews. It just wasn't mentioned in the book. But what happened because of that is media took that and ran with it and created this idea that all you need to do is think positive thoughts and then positive things will come into your life. And where that can be true, and we'll talk about how that can be true in a minute, it's not true for specific things. And let me give you a great example. If you want a lake house, you could spend the next 25 years of your life in your bedroom, meditating, visualizing this beautiful lake house. But if you never leave your bedroom, it is highly unlikely someone will walk in and hand you the deed to a lake house. You have to take action towards what you want to create in your life. And so when you take action is when you actually start to put things into motion. And I want to give you a real life example and explain what this picture is. So this is me and my husband high-fiving in front of my wellness center that I opened a couple years ago. And I had a dream of opening this wellness center for 4 or 5 years, but I never took any action. But I was so committed to this dream, I visualized it every single day. And as I was visualizing it, I was getting into the emotions of it, and I was so committed to opening this wellness center. And then I had a coach notice, and they're like, well, what action are you taking into opening your wellness center? For a frame of reference, it was May 5th, 2020, when she asked me that question. I was like, I can't open a wellness center, and gave her all of these things about COVID and a brick and mortar, and I don't have the money. I don't know what I'm doing. I gave her 10 minutes of excuses. She was like, great. What was your excuse 6 months ago? And I was like, ooh, feeling real called out right now. And so she was like, I challenge you to take some action on opening a wellness center. You decide what the action is, report back in a couple of weeks. So I meditated on it and I was like, oh my gosh, I could help other people manage their wellness center to learn the skills. Because at the time, Denver was just opening up with chiropractors and massage therapists needed to have all this new protective equipment. There was paperwork, all these safety regulations. And I saw wellness practitioners in my community struggling to manage all these new regulations and their clients. So I was like, I could go in and use my project management skills to help people do the paperwork, the PPE, whatever they need, and to reopen so that that chiropractor, for example, could just work on their clients. And so I was like, I got really clear what I wanted. I wanted this opportunity to be within 15 minutes of my house. I wanted it to be 3 to 5 hours a week. And I wanted this person to be invested in my success. I show up to everything 150%, and I wanted them to mentor me in exchange for the support that I was going to give them. And I wanted them to be truly invested in mentoring me. That's it. And so I was like, well, what do you do to get a job? I don't know. I'll write a resume. How else would you get a job? So I started writing this resume, detailing all my project management experience. And in that, and I put the resume down after writing it for a couple hours. And a couple days goes by and I find myself in a connect with a wellness practitioner. I had met her a couple years ago, but during COVID shutdown, I needed more people. So I was doing connects left and right virtually. And I asked this woman, um, and again, I set up just a friendly meeting. I was like, well, how can I support you at the end of this meeting? She looks at me and says, do you know anybody who wants to manage a wellness center in Denver? Yeah, tell me more. It's 14 minutes from your house. It's 3 to 5 hours a week. And I want this person to, when I close my business, I want them to open a wellness center in this location after I'm gone. And I was like, it's me. She literally gave me repeated back the three things I wanted. She was like, great, you're hired. So here's what I want to tell you about that story. I did not take the right action because to this day, no one has ever seen that resume. No one. But I took the best action I could think of at the time. And when I took one step towards my dream took 1,000 steps towards me. So I'm saying this, and I want to really hammer this point home is I think a lot of us get stuck in analysis paralysis. What is the perfect action I could take that would support me in doing this? I want to scale my business to $100,000 this year. What is the marketing plan that's going to get me there? And you could spend the next 5 years of your life trying to figure out the perfect marketing plan, or you could just do the best one you see in front of you and know that at some point in the future, you can always shift and change. But it is amazing when you get into action, things are magnetized towards you. So all right. So we're going to talk a little bit about and thank you everybody who's just joining in. If you want to share what you're manifesting in the chat or where you're coming from, that's great. We're going to talk about the science around manifestation, because if you understand how it works, it's a lot easier because like a lot of people are like, it's a philosophy, it's a religion, it doesn't work for me, it works for other people. But if you understand the recipe, the protocol, the science behind it, it's a lot easier to utilize it. So everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. That is what Albert Einstein said, and I'm willing to trust him as an expert in quantum physics. And if everything is energy, that means each thought, each belief, and each emotion has an energy to it. And you have 80,000 thoughts every day. You can have tens of thousands of beliefs, and there are 128 emotions, and you can cycle through each and every one of them dozens of times every single day. So together, your thoughts and your beliefs and emotions actually create an energy. They have so much energy they're putting out. It creates a field around you, which is pictured here. This is a picture from HeartMath and shows what the shape of your energy field is. And so this energy field, again, is made from all of your thoughts, all of your beliefs, and all of your emotions. And it's doing all of the attracting in your life. And so what happens is let's talk about an example of a good day or a bad day. When you have a good day, you wake up on the right side of the bed, breakfast is delicious, you have extra time to do whatever you want, you hit all green lights on the way to work, you show up and your inbox is empty. It'll happen someday, I hope. And so you're in this beautiful place. And haven't you noticed when you're having a good day, all of these good things happen to you? What's happening is you have the thought, I'm having a good day, and the emotions of like joy and presence or contentment or whatever those emotions are projected into your field. And here's the bullet point: like attracts like. So when you're projecting this good day energy out there, things will come to you that support you in having a good day. Unfortunately, the same thing is true when you're having a bad day. When I'm having a no good, very bad day, you spill coffee down your shirt on the way out the door, but you can't fix it. You hit all red lights, all of these things. There's no parking spots. You step in a puddle and it splashes on whatever it is. you're having this bad day energy and you're like, I'm grumpy, I don't like this, and like attracts like. And we call it Murphy's Law, but Murphy doesn't exist. Murphy's Law is a way to explain that when you're putting out an energy from your thoughts and your beliefs and your emotions, you're going to attract more things that reinforce your belief. This is how the subconscious works. And so, anyways, like attracts like. Let's go into that a little bit more. If like attracts like, then love attracts love. And I want to credit Dr. David Hawkins, who wrote the book Power versus Force. This is a map of consciousness, but it's really the energy level associated with each and every emotion. And the things I want you to notice is that each and every emotion has its own specific energy level. Guilt is 30, fear is 100, acceptance is 350, love is 500, peace is 600. So notice that the higher level emotions, the ones you want, there's no such thing as a good or a bad emotion because they all have a place in our life. But the emotions you want to be spending more of your time in have higher numbers associated with them. And the higher the number, the better the things that you attract to yourself. And so a higher energy level attracts better things to you. And I had a real life example of this when I was in the honeymoon stage of my relationship with my husband. I was so in love and I got an unexpected promotion at a job that like never had promotions. Random people gave me money. Like everybody wanted to be my friend. I would get compliments from grocery store people. Just everybody wanted to tell me how great I was all the time. You know why? Because I was beaming love out and I was attracting reasons for me to love my life. And so you attract whatever emotional and thought state you're in. And one thing I want to share is you might notice that the most important emotion is not actually listed on this chart. It's gratitude. Gratitude is measured at a frequency of 900. And here's a secret is the frequency of abundance is 888. So abundance and gratitude are right next to each other. So the more you feel gratitude, the more abundance you can receive. And anytime you're wanting, because abundance is up here in 900, anytime you're wanting to transform an emotion, like I want you to feel your feelings. If you're feeling grief or anger or fear, that's okay. But when you're ready to get out of those emotions, gratitude is the answer. So, like daily gratitude practices for a while, you'll be grateful for 5 minutes. If you do that practice for a week, you'll be grateful for an hour. If you have a regular gratitude practice, you might spend most of your day in the feelings of gratitude. So, and basically what it's saying is you're averaging the more time you spend in gratitude, the more you're averaging your day with 900. And so if you're at, 75 for a lot of the day, but then you pepper in 900, the average of that is what your average frequency is over the day. So the more gratitude you do, the more it will pull you up in the map of consciousness. All right, and a little bit more of the quantum physics and then we'll get started in the actual part about manifestation. So quantum physics explains manifestation perfectly, especially the double slit experiment. So the double slit experiment was started 97 years ago, and they've been doing it continuously ever since because it's so interesting. What happened is these scientists wanted to know what an electron looks like, so they had a machine that fired an individual electron through a gold leaf that had two slits on it onto a piece of photo paper. And what I want to share is these images are not necessarily, or they're not zoomed. This is the same magnification. So they started this electron firing machine and they watched it and it showed up as observed. This is a particle pattern, and then the non-observed is a wave pattern. And so they're like, great. They repeated the experiment a couple times. And then the next thing they did, they turned it on, but now they went to lunch. And when they showed up, the results showed that the electron showed up as not observed. And they're like, wait, we just did it a bunch of times and it showed up in this one as a particle, but now it's showing up as a wave. And so what they noticed is if they watched the machine while it was firing, it showed up as observed. If they didn't watch the machine as it was firing, it showed up as not observed. And And then so they started the 97 years of variations that they've done of this. They had animals watch the machine and it would show up as not observed. They had computers and AI and robots watch the machine and the pattern showed up as not observed. And they had people watch a recording, a human watch a recording later, but they weren't live watching the electron firing machine. And this is the most interesting variation, is they set up a live stream of somebody across the world, like 3,000 or 5,000 miles away. But that person was watching a live stream of this electron firing machine. And guess what? It showed up as observed. So what does this mean? Electrons act differently when you consciously observe them. When you're watching an electron, it acts differently. You might be asking, what does this have to do with manifestation? Your consciousness affects matter in the 3D world outside of you and changes the outcome. Your consciousness changes the world outside of you based on your thoughts, based on your beliefs, based on your emotions. You're actually changing the outcome of what's happening in situations in your life. The good news about this is by observing your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors, you can actually change the outcome. So if what you want is to create more money, you can take actions and you can change your thought about money. You can change your relationship with money, which we're going to do later today. You can change the emotion you have around money and you make it more, and the actions you're taking around money, you can actually change the outcome and bring more money into your life. And the opposite is true too. If what you want is more money, but you continue to avoid money or you don't look at it or you don't do anything, you're actually decreasing the likelihood of more abundance to come to you. So, what actions are you taking or not taking around your money? So these are some examples, and just these are some things to think about without judgment, just open-hearted curiosity. Because if we judge ourselves, then we go into the guilt and shame, which is some of the lowest level emotions and frequency, and you can only manifest from high-level emotions. So just notice, what actions are you taking? Are you taking intentional actions to grow your business or make more money? Are you taking intentional action to generate sales in your business? Are you practicing being smart with your money? And one thing I want to share is wealthy people know how money works. They're educated around money. So they're being smart with their money. That does not mean penny pinching. It means they understand how to use compounding interest, which crushes you in credit card debt, but can be amazing when it comes to retirement and investments. But they know how money works and they're intelligently using money and intelligently and intentionally using money. So you taking actions that increase your ability to receive abundance, or are you not taking action? That's avoidance, and that's okay. I fully out myself. I was a money avoider for a really long time because it felt very scary. And then I chose to increase my abundance and I chose to change how I felt about money. So are you waiting for sales or clients to come to you? Are you relying on other people to handle money for you or other people to make money decisions for you? And this is not like I have a bookkeeper. She handles my books because I don't have time for the details, but I use her as a resource, but I know what's happening in my money. And in fact, I use her to educate me on how to better use my money. So yes, somebody else handles my money, but I'm still responding like the day-to-day and the QuickBooks, check the boxes, enter the journal entries, whatever. But I still am using that amazing bookkeeper as a reference and a resource to support me in being smart with my money. So just notice currently in this moment, what actions are you taking or not taking around your money? And I'll give you a second. Again, no judgment, nothing like that. I just want you to notice, are you more on the side of taking action or more on the side of not taking action in your money? All right. I love it. Amazing. And so now let's keep rocking and rolling. So if you want to attract more abundance, which I mean, who doesn't? Also, you're here, which means you probably want to attract more abundance. You can improve your relationship with money. And we're actually, I'm going to talk about it and then we're going to jump into a process that's actually going to support you in improving your relationship with money. So just take a note really quick. How do you talk about money? Do you talk about money like it's a long lost best friend you just haven't spoken to in a while? Or do you treat money like a deadbeat that doesn't show up enough? Just notice, how do you talk about money? Are you focused on saying like the specific words you're using? Every word, remember, everything has an energy. So every word has an energy that you use. Then every thought and your conversations each have an energy. So notice the words you're using around money. Are you saying things like, it's not enough? And if you walk away, there's only a couple golden nuggets I really want you to walk away with today. I want you to never say the words ever again for the rest of your life, I can't afford it. Because when you do that, you're putting out an energy that it will create situations in your life that reinforce the idea that you can't afford it. I would love for you to shift that and say, I'm choosing not to invest in that right now. And that's a really powerful shift in your language. I can't afford it to I'm choosing not to invest in that right now. Or I'm choosing not to invest in that period, whatever that is. But just please don't ever say, I can't afford it ever again, because that will just reinforce the I can't afford it again and again in your energy field. And so you can upgrade your attitude and gratitude around money, which is what we're going to do in a minute. And I'm also going to teach you some practices that you can do at home. But for me, I'm a neuroscientist and a magnetic mind coach. So I use neuroscience based tools. So we're actually going to jump into a practice right now using neuroscience to improve your relationship with money. So the only PSA is if you are driving or if you're in a place where it's not safe for you to close your eyes for a couple minutes, you can just tune out and you keep your eyes open, just kind of follow along. But just please don't do this if you're driving or if in an unsafe position to close your eyes for a few minutes. You can always come back to this recording and do this. But neuroscience, this process we're about to do is going to instantly help you improve your relationship with money. And we're going to use a neuro-linguistic programming, an NLP process called perceptual shift, which just improves your relationship. And it helps. And when you can improve your relationship, you can release old beliefs, old thoughts, old emotions around money that are no longer serving you. So it changes. And the result is that you change how you think and you feel about money. So if you want to play along, the only thing you need is to say, I recommend to close your eyes. And we're gonna say this statement together in a minute. And I'm gonna do what's called the superconscious recode, which is a fancy term for saying I'm gonna speak in English, but it sounds like gibberish and it's periods of silence. I want it for the sake of this webinar. I'm happy to stay at the end and explain what I'm doing after we do it. But I'm giving new instructions, new operating instructions to a level of your consciousness to release the old emotions and beliefs and thoughts. So the only thing I need from you is to say either out loud or in your head, I give Kitty permission to connect to my superconscious. Amazing. Thank you. And now if you want to just close your eyes and now say either out loud or in your head, I choose to have a better relationship with money. And take deep breaths. When I'm talking to you, it'll be clear. When I'm talking to the superconscious, I use the word superconscious first. But just fast forward to a future moment in time where you have more than enough money. You're overflowing, you're abundant. Whatever you want the money for has already happened. And just notice, how does it feel to be in this place where you have more than enough money? Maybe you're traveling, maybe you're supporting friends and family, maybe you have a couple different homes, maybe you went back to school, you have the job of your dreams, whatever it is, just notice. In a future moment in time where you have more than enough abundance in your life, what does it feel like? And just notice anything maybe you see or hear or taste or smell, whatever comes up when I say visualize having more than enough money. All right. And now I want you to visualize, we're going to have you visualize moving from into different chairs, but you do not need to physically move. You can just see in your mind that you're moving to a different chair. Chair number 1 is you. Chair number 2 is money. And chair number 3 is the divine, the omnipotent, the super conscious. And I'm going to take you through the steps for each one. But for now, you're going to sit in chair number 2. And in chair number, you're going to sit in chair number 1, looking at chair number 2. So you're looking at money. What is money represented to you? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Just notice. And what do you think about money as you're sitting in front of, you're in chair number 1, you're looking at chair number 2. What do you think about money? Notice your attitude and energy towards money. What beliefs are coming up around money? And what's your desired outcome in your relationship with money? How do you want to feel in your relationship with money? Just take a deep breath, make note of all the things you feel and think and believe, all the energies and attitudes you have around money. And now we're going to release all of that. And we're going to imagine your energy, your essence is slowly floating up above your body for just a moment. Your energy, your essence is floating up above your body, and it's going to sit on the roof of whatever building you're in right now. And as you move your essence and energy to the roof, just notice releasing any attitudes, beliefs. You're wiping the slate clean, releasing everything. Take a deep breath. And now you're going to start gently floating down back, and you're going to land in seat number 2. And now you're going to become money. Seeing through money's eyes, hearing through money's ears, feeling through money's heart. You're going to become whatever you see money to be. And you're, as money, you're sitting in chair number 2, looking back at you. Notice, as money, how do you feel about you? As money, what are you saying to you? What are the thoughts, the emotions, the energy that money has towards you? What beliefs does money have about you? You as money, how do you feel looking at you? And what is the desired outcome that money has for you? What does money want for you? So just notice any emotions, any energy. How does it feel to be money sitting across from you? And we're going to release all of the energy, the thoughts, the beliefs. Let it all stay in that chair as we float up the energy and essence of you, floating up above chair number 2 in money, floating up to the roof of the building you're sitting on, or the building you're in. Sit on that roof as your energy. Take a deep breath. And you're going to gently float back down to chair number 3. This is you as the omnipotent. This is you as the divine. You as your future self, the super conscious, the angels you associate with, whatever it is. It's your connection to something bigger than you is sitting in chair number 3. So now you are that omnipotent version of you. And just witness, what is it like to be seeing the relationship between you and money? What's the energy between you and money like? What does it feel like? And what needs to happen for the you in chair number 1 and money in chair number 2? What needs to happen for both parties to increase satisfaction? What needs to happen for both parties to have a better relationship with each other? What's obvious? And just notice anything you're noticing and anything you become aware of, just send that information to you in chair number 1 or money in chair number 2. And then superconscious, do you see the resistance? Now I'm going to go into the superconscious recode. So just sit in. You can imagine floating up above, up to the roof, releasing everything and floating back down to you in chair number 1. Listen to these words. Superconscious, do you see the resistance? Please tag and treat the resistance in alignment with desire, beliefs, definitions, broken agreements, secondary intentions, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in part personalities, part of you, creating, holding on to, or manufacturing any level of resistance? Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Any part of you that's stuck in an old way of being, thinking, or believing that's creating a negative relationship with money, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, circling back to any beliefs that you don't believe you deserve it, you don't know how to get it, any fears and emotions in relation to money, tag and treat and do a massive change history, going back to any family history, past lives, any traumatic memories, whether you remember them consciously or not, any negative memories, associated memories, judgment, thoughts, mental patterns, negative feedback loops, the stories that we tell ourselves, decisions and choices we made, and the judgments we have on them. Any mental conditioning that's negative around money, please tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance in our body's energetic systems and physiological systems? Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, going back to the original event around money. Tag and treat and do a massive change history. Circling back to any emotions we have around money, grief, fear, anger, anxiety, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Any resistance in ways of being, any resistance to having the identity of a wealthy person or a rich person, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Any beliefs associated around negativity and wealth, tag and treat and do a massive change history. Superconscious, please continue to identify, tag, and treat any remaining resistance we have so we can have the most joy and satisfaction and happiness in life, living in alignment with abundance and any part of our beingness, any part of our, any of the 5 energy levels that we have that is in resistance to having overwhelming abundance. Tag and treat and do a massive change history. And superconscious, please ground all the memories we have touched today, especially memories 1, 2, and 3. Reconnect them to the matrix of the universe, connecting heaven and earth through our bodies. Awesome. Whenever you're ready, you can take a deep breath. You might want to wiggle your fingers and toes if you want to come back into your body. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that was a very quick version of some of the neuroscience tools I do. I would love if you feel like sharing in the chat. And yeah, please take a big drink of water. Anytime we do energy work or neuroscience work, water is essential. If you want to share anything you realize, and you can jot it down in the chat or you can jot it on a piece of paper. What did you learn about your relationship with money? Feeling lighter. I love to see that. So just notice, I would love to see how you feel, anything you learned around money, anything when the divine was sharing what needs to be increased for satisfaction between you and money, anything that came to you. And again, I'm happy to stay after and talk about what I did, how it works, all of that. I will also provide you a recording of a longer version of that. I just wanted to give you a little sample in this call. So now we're going to jump into the challenges and solutions around manifesting more money. So number 1 is we get really attached to the path or the outcome in money. Oh, interesting. So many awarenesses around how we treat money. I'm a jerk to money. And that was my awareness the first time I did that process. I was like, wow, I'm always saying negative things. Even when it comes around, I'm like, you're not enough. Like, go away. I'm like, it's quite interesting. So just notice, without any open-hearted curiosity, no judgment. So one of the challenges we have around money is we get really attached to the specific outcome or the specific path. And I had, for the longest time, a manifestation power statement. Like, I was using the affirmation, I want to make more money in my business. But what I learned is the in my business was the part that was blocking me, which doesn't necessarily logically make sense, but all sorts of stuff it doesn't have to logically make sense to be real. And there was a point I really wanted to go to Greece. And so and we were going to go, but then had to cancel because it wasn't a smart financial decision. So I was so committed to go to Greece. So I started looking at my own manifestation practices. And so I saw this statement and I dropped the in my business. And I just started saying, I choose to attract and create more money in my life in whatever way it wants to come in. And crazy enough, in 8 months, I made $6,000 outside of my business and $14,000 inside of my business, unexpectedly. But that $6,000 was like money I found on the sidewalk, people walking up and giving me money for no reason. And then people, I had friends that are like, hey, I could use some help for a couple hours this weekend and I'll give you $300. So, anyways, as soon as I released the attachment to the money has to come through my business, I could receive more. Because another way to say that is I had abundance all around me, but I was so focused, so binocular focused on this one channel that wasn't flowing at the speed that I wanted it to. And then that was creating emotions inside of me that made me sad and anxious or whatever and fearful. And so then that reinforced energy that made money come to me even slower. So when I just decided I'm going to focus on the money that's all around me, I was able to receive more money when I let go of the outcome and the path. And that's similar to saying, when you order in a restaurant, you trust that the wait staff is going to give it to you. You're not so attached to the specific path or outcome that you go into the kitchen and tell the chef how to make you an omelet. You want to be clear and specific what you want, but then let go of the outcome. And I like to say this or something even better still. The second challenge we face around attracting more abundance is it's not what we're trying to manifest isn't a real desire. You can only ever manifest a real desire. And a real desire is something you want because you want it, no other reason behind it. So there's no secondary intentions. If there is a secondary intentions, I want money because then I will feel free. That's not a real desire. Money isn't a real desire. And hint, hint, money is actually never a real desire because we don't want money because we want a swimming pool of money. We want money because of whatever it's going to get us. So now I would love to ask you this question. What do you really want? And I love to help people understand this by asking them this question. If you won $1 million today, what would you do with it? But the caveat is you can't pay off debt. You can't give it away to anybody else, and you can't invest it in a savings account or a retirement. How would you spend $1 million if you had to spend it in a week, but you can't pay off debt, you can't give it away, and you can't invest it? If it comes to you, feel free to pop it in the chat. But I know this, when I put the caveats on, you can't pay off debt, you can't give it away, you can't invest it, a lot of people have a challenge. So I love that. Buy a home by the beach, build a dream house. I love it. Those are amazing things. But the hint that I want to share with you and something to think about is the answer: buy a new ranch home with property where you can have animals. I love it. What a beautiful dream. Vespa scooter. I love it. And then what else? Because a Vespa scooter isn't $1 million. So keep thinking about how you answer that. So, and really in the home, even the dream home, and maybe your dream home's $1 million. We'll see. Especially if it's in Colorado, it's probably $1 million. But anyways, how you answered this $1 million question, the answer to this question is what you actually want in your life: a new car, a new house, and investing in your business. You can invest in your business. Like I would immediately buy some plane tickets and book some travel. I would hire a marketing team in my business. I would hire some new system. I would hire some new staff members in my business, pay for some software that's a little pricey that I know would support me. And I would go on so many vacations. So the answer to how you answered that $1 million question, that's what you really want in your life. So that's what we want to focus on going for. Don't think about the money. Don't try and manifest the money. Manifest the vacations, manifest the scooter, manifest spending time with your children and having fun adventures. That's what you really want. And I want to share with you really briefly, there are 7 things you can never manifest, just in case I didn't see any of these in the chat, but maybe somebody said this in their head. There's 7 things you can't manifest, and it's because you can't manifest abundance from scarcity. You can't do it. It's not possible. And if you want these 7 things, it's an indicator that you don't have them right now. Because if you want to be comfortable, if what you want to manifest and I want money because then I'll be comfortable, that means you're not comfortable right now. If you want to manifest control, That means because you feel you don't have control right now. And this is the one that gets everybody. When I have money, then I will feel free. Here's the thing. I'm already free. Money can't give me that. I never think, and this is after, I mean, I've been doing this for a very long time, but like when I think about when I think about $1 million, freedom is not on my list because I already feel free in my life right now. I might not be free to go on all of the vacations I want this year, but I have freedom in my time. I have freedom in my choice. Like of I choose my relationships. I choose my hobbies, my time, my self-care. I have freedom in my life. So, anyways, money can't give you freedom, comfort, control, independence, safety, stability, or security. And I'll give you guys a second to take a screenshot or to write those down. But if you had safety, stability, and security, you wouldn't want them. So, again, we just want to get to the root desire. When you feel safe, what does your life look like? That is whatever, like, so when you're like, oh, but what I want is freedom. Well, when you're free, what does that mean to you? What does that look like? That is how you can get to your real desire. When I'm free, I can go on all the vacations I want. So what I really want is vacations. Does that make sense? I hope that example is helpful. All right. Challenge number 3 in what prevents us from creating and manifesting more abundance is we do not have the identity yet of a wealthy or rich person. And so I want to tell you a quick story about a man and a boat. And this is a real life story from my mentor. This man was a high level entrepreneur. And for 10 years, he lived on this beautiful lake in Australia. For 10 years, he was trying to manifest the money to buy a $250,000 speedboat because that's what he wanted. And so he would gain the money and then something would happen and he would lose it. And he would get there and he would lose it. And he would get close and then he would lose it. Sound familiar? I know I certainly spent decades in that pattern. This is a real story. Every time I paid off my credit card, my Jeep would break down. That happened 7 times within days of each other. And I was like, obviously this is a pattern. And I started, before I understood what it was Murphy's Law. Because I didn't have the identity of the wealthy person. But back to the guy with the boat. And my mentor heard this and said, oh, cool, go buy a kayak today. And the guy's like, no, you don't understand. I want a speedboat. I don't want a kayak. Every penny I save goes towards the speedboat. My mentor lovingly said, shut up and buy a kayak. And so he bought this kayak and went on the water every day. And lo and behold, he loved being on a boat in the water because that's what he wanted. It wasn't specifically the speed. Well, I mean, he did want the speedboat, but what he wanted to do is be a boat owner on the water and just enjoy this beautiful lake he lived on. And so he started going out in the kayak every single day. And within 18 months, immediately, all of this money started flowing into his business. Within 18 months, he made $250,000 and he bought his speedboat. He traded, and this is how it worked. He went from a kayak to a dinghy, and then when he made more money, a dinghy to a motorboat. And excuse me, because I don't know boat levels, but he went from a $500 boat to a $5,000 or $1,000 boat to a $5,000 boat to a $25,000 boat to a $100,000 boat to a $250,000 boat. He kept trading in these boats. But do you know why it got easy all of a sudden? He had the identity of a boat owner. So he just kept trading into a better boat. So how you can create the identity of what you want is find out where you already have what you want in your life. Abundance is already in your life. And so I'm not going to explain too much right now how to do these practices because I will send you, and I'm going to make a note to include that. I have a handout that's 5 tools. I'm going to mention 2 of them right now, but 5 tools to increase abundance. So I'll just talk you through briefly, but this is focusing on where you already have abundance in your life right now and feeling the gratitude. I'm so grateful I have an abundance of air. And feeling the emotions and the energy. I'm so grateful I have an abundance of fresh water, feeling the gratitude for that fresh water now. Because I guarantee we live in a naturally abundant universe. So I guarantee you have a lot of abundance in your life right now. You have an abundance of love for and from your pets, for and from your friends and your community and your family. You have an abundance of air, water, food, abilities to network. the abilities to be in nature, like everybody's different, but you already have abundance in your life right now. So remember, if you can celebrate abundance, or celebrate or have gratitude and celebrate the abundance you already have, the more gratitude you have, the more abundance you will have because of the match the frequency. And then another thing you can do is an abundance tracking sheet. This was really helpful for me. Every penny I found on the sidewalk, started turning into $100 bills I would find on the sidewalk. Just tracking the abundance you already have. Both of these things help shift the filter in your mind, because when we want more abundance, we're in our reticular activating system. Your brain's filter is in this I don't have money, looking where the money is going out, never. And when you believe money only goes out, money doesn't come in as much, you're focused on one way. And then how that work, remember, money only goes out. You'll have more and more reasons for money to go out, and you're not even going to notice the money that's coming in. So to switch that filter in your brain to filter and notice every penny that comes to you, you will attract more and more abundance as you focus on the money that's coming into you. Like I said, I'll give you a worksheet with specific instructions and a template that you can use to start tracking your abundance. But literally track every penny. I promise it's worth it. So number 4 is we think money will actually change our lives. You can only manifest from a neutral place. And I need money to pay my bills next month is a negative charge on money. And I want money because it's going to make me free. I want money because I'll be happy or successful when I have money, as a positive charge. But either way, you can only manifest from neutral. Another way to say this is we're out of alignment between our thoughts and our beliefs and emotions around money. I think and desire to have money, but I believe and have the emotions around scarcity. So being out of alignment really affects our ability to manifest. So our number 1 block on manifesting is the traumas and limiting beliefs and all of the emotional baggage we carry with us around manifestation. But here's the thing. If you go try to fix these limiting beliefs and these traumas, you could spend the rest of your life just trying to fix yourself and never actually creating any money, because it's like an analogy for this is you're like, I'm going somewhere, but I'm only going to look in the rearview mirror as I drive. I'm never going to look forward. And if you actually want to go to a destination, you got to look through the windshield. And so what I'm encouraging you, even though traumas and limiting beliefs are blocking us up around attracting more money, if you just go for what you want, if you focus on creating more money, if you focus on improving your relationship with money and visualizing money and having all these amazing things, whatever traumas and limiting beliefs will start to melt away when and you'll find resources to support you. So don't go try to fix yourself first, because you're not broken. Just focus on what you want, which is, again, not money. It's vacations. It's a dream home. It's spending time with your friends and family. It's a scooter. And so I already said this at the very beginning, but you are already manifesting all the time, and you're manifesting what you subconsciously believe you deserve, not what you consciously want. You're manifesting what you believe you deserve, not what you consciously want. So, mastery of manifestation. Write down this statement, because this is the most powerful statement as an affirmation for money. I choose, and I like the word attract, but other people like the word receive. I choose to attract more abundance. I choose to receive more abundance. And this is an affirmation. Put it on your lock screen on your phone. Put it on your desktop. Put it all over on sticky notes on your steering wheel or on your bathroom mirror. I choose to receive more abundance. And so mastery of manifestation is, can you be abundant now before you see the results in your life? Can you feel abundant when you only have $5 to your name? That is the mastery of manifestation, because we want to become a manifesting machine for your dreams. Like I am. I had to go from, and this is what I would love to support you in, going from I want abundance. And when you practice manifestation, it's I have abundance. But if you want to become a manifesting machine for your dreams, you get to cycle into I am abundance itself already. And so that's what I teach people to do. So can you be abundant before you have the results in your life? So holding the energy and the emotions through visualization. And again, I have there's a resource sheet that will teach you all about how to do these tasks. But it's really when every time you visualize, you're going to visualize a vacation and you're going to feel the emotions. You're going to feel the energy. When I was visualizing Greece, I could feel the rocking of the boat. I could smell the salt water. I could hear the crashing of the waves. And I could feel the emotions of contentment and pride and energy and excitement. And so, can you feel abundant when you only have $5 to your name? That is mastery manifestation. When you can get anywhere near that point, is when you can effortlessly trust that you can manifest everything you need consistently. So, with that, we're going to go to the slide you've been waiting this whole time for. These are the 4 steps to start manifesting. Number 1, get clear on your real desire. Again, that's the vacations, the dream homes, the time with your family, the scooter. That's your real desire. And a reminder, it's something you want because you want it, no other reason. And whatever you want, I want you to visualize it daily. And I like to do it while I brush my teeth. I literally think about what I'm dreaming about while I brush my teeth. And that's it. I just daydream and visualize. But again, and it could be as little as 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes at night, and it's very powerful and effective. But again, the point of visualization is to get into the emotions and as many senses as you can call up of that. Like if you're imagining spending time with your children, can you feel the warmth of the hug as you hold them? Can you see the orange of the scooter and feel the wind on your face as you ride your scooter? And the reason why we do this is the subconscious can't tell the difference between your visualization and reality. The subconscious can't tell the difference. And so the more you program into your mind what you want to create, the easier it gets. So that's the example of the guy with the boat. He could have visualized being on the boat and it would have worked too, maybe just not quite as fast. So just visualize what you want every day. Release the resistance, which is what I do with my clients using neuroscience, but you can do it yourself. It as you get clear on what you want, you visualize it, and you're like, oh, I keep noticing that I have this resistance around taking the actions. So then you get an accountability buddy. Or maybe you say, I have some really negative emotions around money. Then you go to somebody that does EFT or emotion code. So you find a way to release the resistance. And that is just a fancy way to say is getting your beliefs and emotions into alignment with your desires. And the 4th step is to take action. And the last thing I'll share is the universe rewards quick action. The universe loves speed. And so there's literally a principle, the quickest speed from the idea to implementation increases success. So the quicker you take action today on improving your relationship with money, the better your results are. And your dreams are waiting for you. So it's time to start manifesting now. And the most obvious action is I would love to support you in improving your relationship with money, increasing your ability to manifest consistently. So if you want to make 2025 your year and want to learn how to become a manifesting machine, I would love to invite you to a free 30-minute manifesting machine discovery call with me. And I'll pop in the chat. That is a link to a Google form of all of the ways you can connect with me. There's free webinars, newsletters, abundance tips, all sorts of cool things. And there's also a link in there on how to this free 30-minute coaching session, which is normally $197 to work with me privately for 30 minutes. And I only have room for about 5 people, which is like a third of the room. So please act now. You can either fill out that form, you can scan this QR code. I'll pop a direct link in the chat. So I have very limited spots available, but during this call, and you have to sign up by Monday. By the end of the day, Monday, this link will no longer be valid. And so on this call, bring to me what you want to manifest. And I'm going to share with you tips and tools that you can use today that will help you start manifesting. And then I'll share with you a roadmap of how I could support you in that manifestation journey if it's an aligned fit. So here is the link I will copy. And with that, I know we went over by a minute or two, and I appreciate your guys' extra time. We started a couple minutes late. Does anybody have any questions? And if you want to ask a question, I can always pop off the recording. Here's a link to book that free call. And here, I'll just stop the recording to do.